So two examples of Pythagoras. The first example is when you actually are given the hypotenuse. So here's C. C is across from the hypotenuse. It is the so it's across 9 degrees. It is the hypotenuse. Where A and B, those are legs. They can switch. Who cares about A and B? C is what is important. So if you're trying to find the hypotenuse, you're going to add the other squares. Okay. The other example is when you have A and you have the hypotenuse, and say you want to find a leg. So it would be C squared minus B squared. So this would be the leg, and this would be hypotenuse minus the leg squared. Whereas this is the hypotenuse, and you add the legs. Okay. So, got to keep in mind that hypotenuse is the longest side. That's super important, because then you can check that you're adding to find it. Or if you want to find a leg, you would subtract to find the leg. You don't want to make a leg longer than the longest side. The longest side has to be the longest side. It has to be the hypotenuse. Okay, so add to find the longest side, subtract if you already know the longest side. So, for us, you can leave our answers like square root 21, or if you have square root 28, well, you can convert that to square root 4 times 7, which is square root 4 times square root 7, which is 2 square root 7. So we simplify our radicals. It's been a while since we've done that. That's one way of doing it. Another way of simplifying our radicals is if we have square root 28, we can say that equals square root 4 times 7, which is square root 2 times 2 times 7. So I'm breaking them down into my factors, my prime factors, and then I can take out my pair. Okay. So the green is another way of doing this stuff. And the last way we looked at was prime factorization. It's kind of like this method in green, but we're doing a hook and ladder division. So if we have 28, divide by 2, we get 14, divide by 2, we get 7. And then we saw, oh, wait a second, here we have two pairs. So we can take out a 2. So this equals 2 root 7. 7's left over. Okay, so we just kind of reviewed this stuff with 3 different ways. Now the way I usually show my work is in the red. So usually I do my work in the red. That's how I like to do it. Okay? Any questions? All right. So now that we got that cleared up, let's go ahead and do Pythagoras. In order to find x, you got to find y first. Go ahead, find y. Keep in mind your longest side is 18, so don't make something bigger. So what does y squared equal? 18 squared minus 110 squared. Go to your calculator, it should be out. Now don't square root that. You don't want to square root 224 because we're going to need y squared in a second. Okay, so figure out what x squared is. Well, that's the hypotenuse this time. So x squared, you'll be going 12 squared plus 220 y squared. So x squared equals 144 plus 224 x squared equals, ooh, I don't know, what is that? $368. So x then equals square root 368. So 368, hook and ladder division, divide by 2. 184, divide by 2 again, 92. They're all even, so I know I can divide by 2 and get 46. Divide by 2, I get 23. So because I'm square rooting, I'm looking for pairs. There's a pair, there's a pair, and so my answer x equals 2 times 2 times root 23, 4 root 23. Okay, so I'm showing lots of work for you. Okay, so for our next one, we have to find AB, which we call like our super hypotenuse. So what we do is we do a line here to say C. So now we have a triangle that's on the bottom of the pyramid prism, and we can find the length of CB, and then the root 2 we transfer to the other side. They're going to give us measurements that we need to transfer. Okay? And so then we can use CB root 2 to find AB. So we can do Pythagoras twice. So first of all, let's convert this over. 3 times 3 times 5. Bring the 3 onto the inside. We're going to get 9 times 5, or square root 45. What's the other measurement then? Bring the 2 into inside. We get square root 12. Okay. Good. So what we're looking at now, we want to find BC squared. That's the hypotenuse, so we're going to add our squares. So square root 45 squared plus square root 12 squared. You don't necessarily need brackets, but I'm just showing them to emphasize it. 45 plus 12. Oh, that's so nice. BC squared equals 57. Then BC equals square root 57. Okay. So we now know this hypotenuse is root 57. But looking at the other triangle, here's 90 degrees. So it's no longer the hypotenuse when you're comparing it to the other triangle. Okay, on the other triangle, it's just the leg. So let's find AB squared. It's root 57 squared plus root 2 squared. Go ahead. So AB equals square root 59. Okay, any questions? Now the reason why we have to review Pythagoras is we're often doing Pythagoras where we're finding heights and slant heights. Okay, so it's pretty common. Kathy. So, changing back here now to unit conversions. So we're looking at measurement, converting from feet to meters, meters to feet, all those. If you look on the very last page right now, you'll see you have a data booklet. There's also a data booklet in your pink booklet. Okay. So, what we're going to do is convert into feet and inches. We have 5 whole feet. We have to convert our 0.682 feet into inches. So, feet have to go on the bottom so they cancel out. And unit inches must go on the top because that's what we're converting to. Looking at the conversion factor from the back, it's 12 inches for 1 foot. So we're simply taking a decimal, multiplying it by 12, dividing by 1. Take out your calculator, 0.682 times 12, divide by 1, 8.184. Now we want to convert to the nearest inch, so we would just simply say it's 5 feet 8 inches. Okay, round it out. Any questions? Okay, so I just broke it into a whole number, 5, and a decimal, convert my decimal. Looking at the next one, we're going to convert into miles, and then take our decimals and convert to yards. So 4215 yards times our conversion factor. What unit must go on the bottom? Yards. And then miles will go on the top. That way our yards will cancel out. And it's 1 mile is how many? Looking at unit conversions. 1,760, is that correct? Someone verify? Yep, okay, good. So in a calculator now, it's basically 4215 times 1 divided by 1760. Do you really need the times 1 part? No. So instead of, you don't have to, but if you want to, you can. You're basically dividing here, okay? But technically, yeah, it's times 1. So on the calculator, I put that number in, 4215 times 1 divided by 1760. At 2.3948. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put dot, 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 just to show that it goes forever. You don't want to round. Keep them all. Keep all your decimals. So I would take 0.3948 dot, dot, dot. Now that's in miles. And we convert it back into yards. So miles must go on the bottom this time. So when I convert back, what's happened to my conversion factor? It's flipped. Okay. And so on your calculator, how am I going to get rid of the 2 that's in front? Yeah, I'd have to take it away. So minus 2. Look, all my decimals. It's exactly what you want. So then I just go times 1760. And it's 695 yards. So my full and complete answer then is 2 miles, 695 yards. Okay. Questions? Good. Then convert 5 feet 10 inches to meters. Well, this one's a little trickier because feet to meters is no problem, but inches won't convert to meters. What are, not right away, what are inches good at converting to? Centimeters. So let's convert 5 feet first. What's the conversion factor? 1 foot equals 0.3, what? 0.3048 or 46, what is it? 048. You guys sure on that? Okay, good. So convert that to meters on your calculator. .524. No big deal. Then 10 inches. We're going to convert that into centimeters. So now we're in centimeters. How do we convert that into meters? Well, I do have a conversion factor for it. 1 meter is 100 centimeters. But a lot of you just know, oh, I just moved my decimal place. Okay. So I have some meters at the front. I have some meters at the back. What do I have to do? Put them together. Gotta add them up. .778 meters. Now, why did I just get this question wrong? That's right, round to 2 decimals. Like, you could do all this awesome work and get 0 because you didn't read the rounding part. So for last step, always go back and read what to round to. 1.78 meters. Super important. You can do awesome, great work and get nothing for it. Okay? So you want to make sure you're rounding properly. Good. Any questions? Let's go and convert this other one now. Now we're going the opposite direction. So we're converting meters to feet and inches. Now, there's more than one way to do this stuff. There really is. So don't think this is the only way. So let's convert 2.0753 meters. Convert that to feet. So meters go on the bottom. So there's your conversion factor. 2.0753 6.808 feet. So that's 6 whole feet, and I got some decimals. So I gotta take my decimals, 0.808 feet, and convert that into inches. So this would be like the very first question. Feet in inches. So 1 foot is 12 inches. How would I do that on my calculator? How would I get rid of 6 feet? Take it away. Minus 6. Now I have all my decimals. Okay, you want to keep them all. So it just times it by 12 and get 9.7. So what should be my final answer now? Interpret your numbers. Make some sense out of them. Got 6 feet. How many inches? Well, you round up 10 inches. Okay. So you don't want to ever decimal for your inches. So either round to 9 or round up. Since we're at 9.7, we round up to 10 inches. Any questions? Kathy? So your load's 15 feet wide, but the regulations on the route state that it can only be 4.3 meters wide. Otherwise, you have to use wide load markers. Do you need wide load markers? So there's 2 ways to do this. You can convert 15 feet to meters to see if it's too big, or convert this to feet. Let's do both. So 15 feet, convert that into meters. So feet will go on the bottom. Five, 4.5 or 4.572. So this is obviously way too wide. So you need wide load markers. Okay. Good. Now, converting the other one, 4.3 meters times 1 foot, 0.3048 meters equals, let's see, 4.3 divided by 0.3048, 14.176. So you can see that 15 feet is larger. Okay. So 14.176 feet, that's going to be the rules. If you're over that, which you are, you need the markers. Now, I'm not worried about the 0.176 here because this is just a rough way of seeing if 15 is larger or smaller than it. So don't do more work and convert this decimal into inches. You don't need to. Okay? Because you're just looking at the number. You're not really writing it down as a final answer. Any questions? All right, let's go on. So, choosing an appropriate measuring device is good. This will definitely be in the non-calculator section. So, for example, your car that you have at home, is that 5 meters, 5 inches, or 5 centimeters? Yeah, it's probably about 5 meters. They're going to give you something like that, right? The height of the school, is that 50 yards, 5 yards, 5 inches, or 50 feet? Like, they're going to give you something like that, and you have to know how big measurements are. So this one right here, trundle wheel, that's for measuring long lengths like a soccer field. Or a tape measure, that's for measuring medium lengths. Or a ruler, that's for measuring small lengths. Okay. We also looked at vernier calipers. They measure outside dimensions, inside dimensions, and depths. Okay, usually things like diameters. They're great for diameters. Inside diameter, outside diameter. And then the depth. So this one here is the outside. Oops. Outside. Inside. And over here, this little rod was for the depth. Okay. Any questions? Good. So, reference, estimating, and measuring. Reference are a known or approximately known measurement. For example, the shoulder, your arm, the shoulder to the tip. What is that in metric? Well, it's approximately 1 meter. In imperial, that's approximately 1 yard. What about your elbow to your tip? Well, that's approximately, 30 centimeters, approximately 1 foot. Approximately. What about your arm span from tip to tip? That's about 2 meters. Or 2 yards. What about your hand span? How big do you think this is? Chris, what do you think? Close to a foot? Here's my shoe. Have a look. So close to a foot? Mine ain't. 6, 8. What would you say? Well, how many centimeters?
20.
About 20 centimeters? Yeah. So you gotta be able to tell me that without using a ruler, right? So it's probably about 6 to 8 inches. Okay, somewhere around there. They're going to give you some numbers, and you have to see which one's right. 1 pace, so that's about 1 meter. Sorry, 2 meters. About 2 yards. 1 step is about 1 meter or 1 yard. So a pace is, look up here, start with my feet together, I take 1, 2 steps. Now they're going to be very clear because a lot of people think this is one case. It's technically not. It's a lot of people to use that, so we have to be very clear about that vocab. They will explain it clearly. We're usually going to use steps. How big is a foot? Well, it's about 1 foot, right? 12 inches. Well, I got that one screwed up back there, didn't I? So this should be 20 centimeters. So that's going to be about 30 centimeters is 1 foot. So think about your ruler. All rulers are 30 centimeters. They're 1 foot long. Okay. Floor to your waist. We talked about that one. 1 meter, 1 yard. Length of a pen or pencil. What do you think? Sarah? Sorry? Yeah, how long? How long is your pencil? Yeah, 10 to 15 for sure. Okay, so 10 to 15 centimeters. It's about 5 to 6 inches, somewhere around there. It depends. It can be 8 inches, right? But you know it's not 8 yards. Okay? You know it's not 30 inches. Okay, good. So measuring. Remember, for a ruler, these are always over 16. So your fraction is going to be out of 16, but then you have to reduce to lowest terms. Okay. So this arrow, we've passed 3 whole inches. How many sixteenths do we have? Cody? Yeah, 3 3/16. Okay, good. Now the next one is going to be such big numbers, it's in millimeters. Okay, so find the measurement for X, find the measurement for Y. Go. And the measurement for Y, 181 millimeters. Good. So what's the distance between X and Y? How many centimeters between X and Y? So you have to subtract Y minus X. $54. Good. Hands up if you think the answer is 54. Oh, that's wrong. It's 54 millimeters, which equals 5.4 centimeters. So they're going to do something to you like that, I guarantee you. Right? They'll ask you the measurement in millimeters, and then they'll want your final answer in centimeters. And you'll have to do a subtraction to find what you want. That's classic, folks. Make you think, not just barf on your page. You actually have to think and pay attention. Next, vernier calipers. So for this one, we want to measure from 0 line. So this is your main scale. Your main scale measures 11 millimeters. This is your vernier scale. Your vernier scale matches up perfectly here, so it's 0.7 millimeters. So what we do is we add these scales together. 11 plus 0.7 equals 11.7 millimeters. Now for imperial, you're going to have to add fractions. And when you do that, make sure you have a common denominator. Okay. Surface area, we're looking at the area of each piece. So 3 rectangles plus 2 triangles. Okay, so surface area, we're going to assume that these are a isosceles triangle. So one rectangle is going to be 10 by 6, the other one will be 13 by 6, and the other one will be 13 by 6. The triangles will be base times height divided by 2. We have 2 of them. Now, the problem is we don't know what the height is of the triangle. Okay? We don't know what that height is. So what we have to do is find it. This measurement is 13, this measurement here is 5, and so we can do Pythagoras. 8 squared equals 13 squared minus 5 squared. So h equals 12. Okay. So surface area equals 60 plus, what's 13 times 6? 78. The base of the triangle is 10. The height is 12. And we go divide that by 2. So surface area equals, what's 60 plus 78 plus 78? 216 plus 120, 336 centimeters squared. Okay. Next one, volume. What's the formula for volume of a prism? Base area times the height. So our base is a triangle. So base times height divided by 2 times a different height. Notice how there's 2 heights there. You got to be careful. Okay. So we have a triangular height, which is 12. 10 times 12 divided by 2 times the height of the prism, which is 6. Even though it's on its side. So this is going to be 60 times 6. Volume equals 360 centimeters cubed. Go on, volume of a cylindrical can. Diameter is 10.2. They're going to do that to you all the time. So what's the radius? 5.1. So the volume equals the base area times the height. So the base is a circle, pi r squared times h. Volume equals pi times 5.1 squared times 15.4. Now, you just have to tell me how many pi's there are. So on your calculator, 5.1 squared times 15.4. 400.554. Okay. That is a multiplication, folks. Most likely that will be your answer. But sometimes they'll want you to go to the decimal. Then you do. Often they won't. Right? Most likely they won't. And then once or twice they will. So you have to be able to do both. So then you take your number, you multiply by pi, 1258.37. They want one decimal place, so we'll round it to 4. And that's going to be centimeters cubed for volume. So you gotta be very careful with this question. Okay. Surface area. For surface area of a cylinder, you have two circles, the top and the bottom, plus the barrel. Now the barrel is actually a rectangle. 2 pi r h. This would be your length, and this here would be your width. Okay, so you have to understand how they're coming up with this formula. They're unrolling the barrel, unrolling it into a rectangle. They're going to give you information to play around with the barrel. Okay, that's what they like to do. So two circles is 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. 2 pi times 5.1 squared plus 2 pi times 5.1 times 15.4. .02 pi plus 157.08 pi. So now all I do is I add my numbers up. Plus 52.02, 209.1 pi. So a lot of times that will be your final answer. It's a multiplication. Okay, so it's a number times pi. Then you can go to your calculator. .9 centimeters squared. Regular tetrahedron like this shape, tetra means 4. We actually have 4 triangles in this shape. It looks like 3, but there's actually 4. A base and 3 sides. So let's find the surface area first because it's a little simpler. Surface area equals 4 triangles. So surface area equals 4 times base times height divided by 2. They give you all the information you need. The base is 9, the height is 7.8, divided by 2. Go to your calculator, make sure you can do this. You should be trying all this on your calculator. $140.4, is that right? Centimeters squared. That says to the nearest square centimeter, so I'd say 140 centimeters squared. Final. Okay. Any questions? Next one, volume. Base area, pyramid. So 1/3 base area times the height. So volume equals 1/3 base times height divided by 2 times the height of the prism. So what we're looking for that one is you have to drop a line down 90 degrees. That's the height of the pyramid. This number at the bottom, that's going to be 7.8 divided by 2 because you're right in the middle of that height. So that equals 3 point something. 3.9 centimeters. Okay. So volume equals 1/3 9 times 7.8 divided by 2 times 3.9. Okay. I'm screw that up. It's not 3.9. You gotta do Pythagoras, right? So h squared equals 7.8 squared minus 3.9 squared. $45.63. So h equals square root 45.63. So 9 times 7.8 divided by 2 equals, that's wrong, right? No, clear, times 7.8 equals, divided by 2 equals, divided by 3 equals, times 45.63 square root equals 79. 79 centimeters cubed. Okay, so this next part here, now we're looking at cones and cylinders. So from a cylinder to a cone, one divide by 3. Cone to cylinder, you're going to times by 3. Same thing with a prism and a pyramid. Okay. So these guys are 1/3 the volume. Okay. They're 1/3 the volume. So that's something that's really key and important. Okay, good. So let's find the volume first. Volume equals 1/3 base area times the height. 1/3 of a circle, which is pi r squared, times the height. 1/3 pi times the radius, which is 2 squared, times the height of 7. So volume equals 1/3 pi times 28. So volume equals 28 divided by 3 times pi. So 1/3 times 28 is 1 times 28 divided by 3, which is 28 over 3. Kind of expecting you to know that. Okay. So multiplying a fraction by a whole number, how to do it. Any questions? Okay. Go to a decimal. So 28 divided by 3 times pi. 29.32, and they want the nearest square foot, so 29 feet squared. Sorry? Oh, cube, thanks. Good job, Taylor. Okay, surface area. Formula sheet. It's a circle, pi r squared, plus what? Pi r h? 2 pi r h? What is it? Pi rs? Pi rs? Lord? Pi rs. So we gotta find the slant, which is very common. So we gotta do Pythagoras. S squared equals 7 squared plus 2 squared. S squared equals 49 plus 4. S squared equals 53. So S equals square root 53. Okay. So for us, continue on with the surface area formula. Pi times 2 squared plus pi times 2 times root 53. So surface area equals 4 pi plus 2 root 53, it's a multiplication, times pi. So let's go to our decimals here. Okay. 4 times pi, 12.5663. I keep lots of decimals. And 2 times root 53 times pi. Keep lots of decimals. 45.7422. Okay. So if you keep lots of decimals, you should be okay with your rounding. Then add them up. Plus 12.5663, 58.3, and wants it to the nearest square foot, so 58 feet squared. Okay. All right, another pretty intense question. Questions. Yeah, I did this one differently on purpose to show you it's okay to go to your decimals if they allow you to. All right. Now we're working backwards. There's going to be one question on there where you have to work backwards. They tell you the surface area is 20. They want the diameter. So you might have to find the radius first. I don't know. Look at your formula sheet. What's the surface area of a sphere? Was it? Pi r squared is another one? Pi times d. So what would you use? 4 pi r squared or pi times d? It's pi d squared, isn't it? It's a lot easier to use pi d squared. So use that, okay? Use the easier one. So 20 is a surface area. That's pi times d squared. So how do you get d squared by itself? What's the opposite of timesing by pi? The opposite of times is divide, so divide by pi. What's the opposite of squaring? How do you undo a square? By square rooting. Okay. So then you go to your calculator. Now on a calculator, you must press the equal sign. You want to know the value of 20 divided by pi. Okay, so it's square root 6.36 something. You need to know that number or your calculator is going to take the square root of a midway number. Okay, a different one. So then I can press square root of that and equals 0.8. Okay. 0.80, yeah, so 0.8. Did I? Ah, shoot. Okay, let's double check this. So 20 divided by pi equals square root 2.52. Okay, awesome, thanks. So 2.52, so 2.5 inches. Okay. They 1 round to 1 decimal. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Okay. Next one's pretty intense. So, a cylinder has a height that's 4 times the width of its top. Okay. So, the width equals the diameter. So the width equals 2 times the radius. Now the height equals 4 times the width. So the height would equal 4 times 2r. So the height equals 8 times r. That's the little trick here. They're really messing with you to figure out your height. Okay. So let's work backwards. The surface area equals 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r times h. We can't add these together because here we have pi r squared, here we have pi r h. They're different. You can only add these together if they were exactly the same terms. So we say this is 20.36. This is 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r, and we know the height is 8r. That's important. 20.36 equals 2 pi r squared plus, what's 2 times 8? 16. What's r times r? R squared. Now we have pi r squared and pi r squared. Only now that they're the same terms can we add 2 and 16. Only now do we have pi r squared terms. Okay. So, how do we get r squared by itself? How do we get rid of this timesing by 18 pi? Well, we move it to the other side and divide by 18 pi. Okay. Then how do we get r by itself? How do we get rid of an r squared? Well, we square root. So we square root 20.36 divided by 18 pi. Now you gotta be careful on your calculator. Technically it's 20.36 divided by 18 divided by pi. Then press equals. Then you want to square root the answer. Okay. So be super careful on your calculator. Now some people can do 18 pi at once, but lots can't. So I press equals. So it's square root 0.36. Square root that answer, and you can get something that's wrong. What did I screw up with here? 20.36 divided by 18 divided by pi equals 0.36. Square root, there we go, 0.6. So r equals square root 0.36, r equals 0.6. Perfect. That's my answer, isn't it? No, it's not. They didn't ask for the radius. What did they ask for? Diameter. Right? They're going to mess with you. You did all this awesome work, but they just asked for something that's different. Right? Like awesome hard work, but they asked for diameter. So be careful. Okay, this next one, the volume is straightforward. The volume equals a cylinder plus half a sphere. Okay. The surface area is tricky. It's a cylinder minus a circle. The top of the cylinder is covered, so you have to take that away. Plus, you have to add half a sphere. that because the sphere is covered up, you're okay. But keep in mind, if you have a sphere and you want a surface area of that, you would have to add a circle. If they were separated, you sometimes see that. Okay, just to let you know, be careful for the sphere, like an orange. You take an orange, you cut it in half. The inside of the orange is now exposed, so that's more surface area. That's not this question, but in a different question, that would be included.